Good morning, everybody. It's Chef Carole here, and as promised, we are going to make pickle chips today. So we're going to use the pickles that we made last week. So I'm going to show you how to do this, and I will send everybody the recipe as well. I'm going to use this little miniature colander strainer. I don't know why, but it's one of my favorite things that I have in my kitchen drawer, and I use it all the time. But the main reason I'm using it is that I am actually going to save the pickle juice. And I don't know if you remember, but another name for the pickle juice is actually called the brine. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. I can actually use the pickle juice maybe just this week to flavor a few things. I could add it to a burger mix. I could add it to a salad dressing mix, and use it instead of the vinegar that a recipe might call for. So this is super fun. I'm also using something else that was a gift for me. These three beautiful little silver trays that my four sons gave to me as a gift many, 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 many years ago, and I use them all the time whenever I'm breading something. So in the first container, I have whole wheat flour. You could use regular flour, but I hope you remember that we want to try to use whole wheat because it has the germ and the endosperm still intact on the shaft of wheat, and that is much healthier for us. It gives us much more fiber. In the second little bowl, I have this white mixture, which is really just a horseradish sauce. But if you did not have horseradish sauce, you actually could make your own by just using some mayonnaise and some freshly ground horseradish. Um, Horseradish is a little spicy, so it has a little kick. So when you're making the recipe, if you don't like things that are too spicy, then just use a little bit of the horseradish sauce. And in the final tray, I have a mixture. So on this half of the tray, I have panko breadcrumbs. I think we've used panko breadcrumbs before in the nutrition lab. They're kind of cool because it's just a breadcrumb without the crust. These are really, really nice ones. But I'm also going to do an experiment. I'm going to use these gluten-free breadcrumbs also on the other side here. And if you look really closely, you can see they're definitely a little bit more coarser, but one of my sons doesn't eat gluten, and I thought, well, I'm going to experiment with this recipe and see how they come out if I use the gluten-free cookie crumbs. So here we go. You need to get a plate. There we go, because we're going to have to put our pickles that we make on here. So this is super, super fun. I've got nice clean hands ahead of time. Remember, I'm sure you've all become really experts about washing your hands for 20 seconds. I'm not going to show you, but my hands are nice and clean. And just something else I want to tell you quickly, that my jar that I made the dill pickles in, this little canning jar, I don't ever throw it away. I can clean it and I can use it over and over again. So this is kind of fun. First of all, I'm going to taste one of the pickles that we made last week. Mmm. Woo! They are a little salty. So I think I mentioned in the video that I sent that if you don't want to use that much salt, either use a bigger container or cut the amount of salt. So here we go. We're going to take one of our pickle slices. I'm going to coat both sides in the whole wheat flour. I'm then going to dip it in the horseradish sauce, just like this. Nice coat. And then I'm going to dip it in the breadcrumbs. So this one I think I'll do in the panko. I want to get a lot on here, and I'm going to put them on my tray. So we're going to do that again. So this is kind of the order for procedure for dipping almost anything. Into the flour, into the horseradish sauce. You even get the sides done like that. And I'll do another one in the panko, just like this. Let's do one more. Into the breadcrumb, into the horseradish sauce. See, I want to make sure it's nice and coated. And then this time I'm going to try some of these gluten-free crumbs. I've also made this recipe with chickpea breadcrumbs. So let's leave that like that for now. I'm going to rinse my hands off. All right. So those are going to actually go into the oven. So just like magic, we already have ours in the oven. They've been at 425 degrees. This is just a piece of parchment paper. And I baked them for just about 12 minutes, and look how gorgeous they are. I didn't even have to turn them over because both sides got nice and golden brown. So I'm going to put them back in the oven just to keep them warm while I make our dipping sauce. So you can be super creative and use almost anything you want as a dipping sauce, but I'm going to show you mine. And remember, I'm not going to throw any of this away. I'm going to save it because I'm going to make a lot more pickle chips. Or I could put it in a Ziploc baggie and save it because that is not garbage. So our dipping sauce is really, really fun. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of yogurt, and you could use yogurt or sour cream, and the exact amount that you need for the recipe. I think it calls for a half a cup or a cup, but you'll see that on the recipe. There we go. I'm then going to add a little bit of something spicy. So what I really wanted to get was some chipotle adobe sauce. But being as things are right now with the COVID virus, I wasn't able to find any canned. So I actually could even use horseradish because it's spicy, but I'm going to use a little tapatio. And I also like it, the same reason I like the adobe sauce is that it's going to give it a little bit of color. And I think that's really, really pretty. And believe it or not, I could add a bit of horseradish, but you know what? I have a feeling that this is going to be spicy enough. And that's all I'm going to do. That's the only thing that's going into my sauce. But before I put it in my little container and taste it, it's always a really, really, really good idea. Let's get a little tasting spoon to taste it before I serve it. Because remember, I can always make it spicier. Ooh, it's perfect. That's really, really delicious. So now I'm just going to put it in my little serving dish. Ooh, that has a really nice kick. I know a lot of you do like spicy food, but I will warn you that it's pretty spicy. And if you wanted to use something as a dip that wasn't spicy at all, you could use a salad dressing. You could use, oh, my mind is, I'm trying to think of what it's called. Yeah, just ranch salad dressing. Would be really, really good and not spicy at all. And it might be fun to have even more than one spice. And I'm just thinking at the top of my head, you know what else would be delicious as a dip? Is honey or even a little bit of agave syrup. So I am now going to, got a little basket prepared. I'm going to put my dipping sauce here. And now I'm going to get my pickle chips out of the oven. And they are a little hot still, so I'm going to be very, very careful. I don't want to bump them too much or some, oops, that is a little hot. I could use some tongs for this, but I'm worried that the tongs are going to actually take the breading off. And there we go. We have some absolutely delicious pickle chips. And every time I've done a video, I keep meaning to say this before we eat, and I keep forgetting. And then when I get into bed at night, I remember that we forgot to give thanks. So I'm going to hold one of my pickle chips up, and I'm going to say, you can say it with me, thanks to the sun, thanks to the earth, thanks to the rain for all you have done, for making my body strong and with love in my heart my whole life long. I really miss everybody. Say hi to Floydie. I've told you about our Bernese Mountain Dog. And later this week, I'm going to make another video. I'm going to do another one of my favorite books. I think I'm going to read you one that's called Chopsticks. So I'll see everybody later. I miss you so much. You're all in my heart, and I hope you enjoy your pickle chips. Bye.